Hey, hello all. Very good morning. And first of all, I wanted to congratulate every one of you who have registered for this because it's not really about winning and participating in something which is like innovative. That itself means a lot for us. And welcome to this introduction part of Metaverse Hackathon. So today, I, Yogendra, and Arun Nadarsa would be explaining you regarding the guidelines and also a few tips how you can create this presentation for tomorrow. So without further ado, let me take you to my slide. So we'll be starting with introduction. Afterwards, Arun also will give you the introduction about Metaverse. And after that, he'll explain you the guidelines. And right after that, we'll say you what are the tips you can follow to score well. And at last, we have this Q&A session. In case if you have any questions, please feel free to chat or unmute your mic and talk to us. So coming to IPA, I hope most of you previously know about IPA. In case if you don't, so IPA is Indian Pharmaceutical Association, which is a national body representing over 1 million pharmacists and pharmaceutical scientists from industry, academia, regulatory, hospital, and community pharmacy who work to meet India's healthcare needs. And IPA is a non-governmental organization that has been in official relations with the FIP and WHO. And IPA has 80 years of advancing the pharmacy profession nationwide. So coming to IPASF, IPASF is a student forum under the IPA. So IPASF is a network of motivated young pharmacists and pharmaceutical graduates within IPA. And IPASF was officially established in 2008, but young pharmacists and pharmaceutical graduates have been part of IPA for many years. And our objectives are to facilitate the connections and networking so that new ideas can be shared and to open up doors to the new possibilities. So we are across the nation of India. So coming to the top one, we have highest members in Maharashtra. After that, it is Andhra, and third, it is Karnataka, and fourth, it is Telangana. So we also have a few other states recently. I haven't updated that. So yeah, this is our team. So I'm Yogendra, I'm the president, and Likita Tadturi, she is the president-elect, and Smriti Adhikari, she is secretary, and Sainath, he is chairperson of public relations, and Vrushali, she is chairperson of projects, and Rashikar, he is chairperson of liaisons. So this is our subcommittee team hierarchy. So clearly you can see there is project subcommittee, public relations subcommittee, and liaison subcommittee. Feel free to ping us to know about specific activities. Also follow us on the social media so you can know our recent activities. Coming to our membership benefits, we have this mentorship program where you can have a one-on-one session with the mentors, and few times it would be like sort of assignments, or they'll give you a few projects to do. And after that, we have internships and projects. So recently I've shared few for specifically to PharmD people, and also for masters and bachelors students. Also, we have a couple of internships in the pipeline. And coming to networking, as you might have saw previously, few members who were in IPSF, we have met with YPG global members. So across from Philippines, Indonesia, and Nigeria, Australia, they have networked and they have understood what is the perspective of the pharmacy in their current countries. And coming to the leadership, so we also have a few leadership programs which can enhance your skills. So stay tuned. So from here, I would like to pass on floor to Arun Nadarsa, who is founder of Social Prescribing Pharmacy Association. and he also have a couple of others. So I'm really happy to be sharing the floor with you, Arun. So the floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Shogi. And first of all, I just want to take this time to really give a shout out to every single one of you that are here today, for the team that registered, because you are now basically part of the future. Honestly, like the term metaverse gained so much traction since the rebrand of Facebook to Meta last year, but now it's gone to the point that more people, more company are getting involved in metaverse, and it's just like the growth is more gone from, for example, going to a level, and in the past few months going up very, very quickly. So you come literally at the right time. So to give a bit of context, the metaverse definition, which I really like, because there's no agreed definition of the metaverse because it's still an ongoing process. And I really like that quote from Jin Takahashi, who's basically part of this company called GamesBeat. And he does some really good article. And his definition of the metaverse is as follows: that in a nutshell, define it as a virtual environment that's persistent, has its own economy, for example, leveraging the blockchain economy, the crypto, the token, the NFTs. And it's not just metaverses, it's one metaverse, but the collection of company just kind of coming together, because there's been the launch of the Metaverse Standard Forum earlier on. I think it was this week or last week. I believe it may have been last week. And we are basically trying to get stakeholders from different sectors to come together to kind of have a shared understanding on how we can work together. So there's only one metaverse, not several one. So Yogi, if you do next slide for me, please. Thank you. So as some of you may have seen, there's been back in March an article launched regarding several smart pharmacy getting involved in the metaverse and put several patents into place. From my understanding, from what I've read, it could take up to 6 months to be accepted. And in a nutshell, when I looked at the patent application, there was a few information regarding wellness product, NFTs for medicine. And I think that I believe India has so much talent. We have so many people that's come from India and now leading many companies as CEO. So I can think of, for example, from Google to various other companies. And the fact that you're here today, you're part of the future. And I strongly believe that by the end of the hackathon being tomorrow, a lot of you would have gone from having some kind of basic understanding to another event of being fully immersed into the economy of the metaverse, to the point you'd be becoming almost ambassador for the meta pharmacy movement that's right now with India, but is going to take hold globally. If you go next slide for me, please. So to begin with, so just to emphasize, when you do the presentation to us, for me and Yogi, to try at the end of the day, basically, we'll be selecting the top 5 team for tomorrow. We either going to decide to do it either today or it might be tomorrow morning. It has to be discussed with Yogi. But in a nutshell, in your presentation, you don't have to have a fully fledged product, because remember, TC is not a proof of concept hackathon, it's an ideation hackathon, whereby we're working with your team, putting together a PowerPoint presentation, and from there on, explaining why is your vision going to work out better, and also what should be some of the elements that's going to make your project, your idea successful. And for this, you don't have to cover every single part of the meta pharmacy. It can be, for example, one specific part of the patient journey into your pharmacy in the metaverse. But those are some options you can choose from. You can either focus in the infrastructure part, which is basically what's powering the connectivity of the metaverse. It could be the human interface. So for example, you can have the VR headset And there was a conference regarding the metaverse last week, which was discussing that one of the mass adoption for the metaverse is going to start, first of all, with mobile phone, because that's what most people have already, because purchasing a VR headset may not be ideal at this point of time. They're still being developed, still being refined. So by having mobile phone, making use of it, is going to increase engagement from members of the public and also from the wider profession globally. Then the decentralization part, I mean, the beauty of it is definitely the blockchain part. So for example, there's different blockchain available, so which can also be referred as DLT, distributed ledger technology. Then you have the spatial computing, which is what I'm really excited about. So in a nutshell, it is, right now we're having the hackathon, this video right now through a 2D screen on Zoom. But then again, in the near future, instead of using our laptop, you'll be interacting with each other in a metaverse with VR headset or even contact lenses. And what's going to make this metaverse very, very unique is the fact that instead of interacting in a 2D screen, you'll be interacting in the 3D environment, therefore having prior knowledge or existing knowledge of creating 3D environment is going to be, I strongly believe, coming from my mentor, Arun, who's a CMO of Yom, the development of graphic design in a metaverse. So you as a pharmacist or as a pharmacy student, if you can start learning how to develop landscape environment using Unity, using Unreal Engine, using any tool available on the web, is going to really make you stand out from the competition. And of course, the creator economy, what's going to make your meta pharmacy successful? What's the marketing strategy? Is it going to be in collaboration with pharmaceutical company, or is it going to be more like collaborating with local artists, local organization? So what I mean by local, so let me put that into context. So for example, let's pretend for a second you have your pharmacy in the metaverse right now, but let's say within your city, for example, Mumbai or Delhi, there is a organization that specializes in financial advice, or it could be an organization that specializes in cooking, like offering cooking classes to improve your cooking ability. Then you could have the digital twin of the organization near your pharmacy, so that any patient that you think might benefit from a social prescribing referral, they don't have to come out from your world to access the other. They can just come out from your pharmacy and walk straight to the financial organization or walk straight into the cooking classes, as an example. Then, of course, you have the discovery part, which is, let's just say, what's going to make you stand out? What's going to make you visible? So think of this of Google of metaverse. Because right now, if you want to find the website information, you go into a single point of entry, type cooking classes, dance classes, and then Google lists out the different entry available based on your interest. But we don't have this yet for the metaverse. So what will be your discovery channel? Is there going some kind of rating system for your pharmacy for the patient to choose from? Because like, I don't know about India, but for example, in UK, some people, before they go to a pharmacy, they go and see the online review of their pharmacy before choosing it, right? So they could have some kind of similar concept, or taking some of the bits and pieces of the idea, making it Web3 ready. And of course, the experience. What's making your pharmacy a pleasant experience to visit in, right? What we want to avoid is try to go to a pharmacy and look exactly the same as in real life. That defeats the whole purpose of the metaverse, right? So instead of having the pharmacy as an accurate representation in real life, it could be your pharmacy in space. It could be your pharmacy in the sea. It could be your pharmacy in the moon. It could be your pharmacy in the rainforest, right? And it doesn't even need to have wall. It can be just like, for example, shelf of medication in a dedicated land in a specific environment, right? So literally your imagination is your oyster. So that's why many people refer to this as the creator economy, the imagination economy, right? So next slide, Yogi, please. So many people must have heard of user experience, which tend to relate to the number of clicks to access a specific part of your website or mobile app. It could be, for example, the way the button is situated. So user experience is really important in the current landscape. But when you start developing the meta pharmacy, the concept of user experience is going to evolve to spatial experience. So for instance, you have, for example, how would you be able to interact within the meta pharmacy? Would it require the patient or the avatar of the patient to touch a shelf in a medication in order to be able to access to medication information? Would it be more like the moment they walk into the pharmacy, the whole pharmacy changes in order to make it inclusive? So what I mean by inclusive, it could be someone that has color blindness, therefore they may not see all the colors. Therefore, the color of the pharmacy could be changed depending on the patient entering the pharmacy. So making it specific to them, to changing the color, some of the design. It could be, for example, someone that is wearing glasses, so therefore the vision is not that good. Think of it as 70, 80-year-old patient where they might need information and formed in a much bigger size. So this could be accommodated in the metaverse. And also the sense of emotion storytelling, because if I was to go into a pharmacy and I just take a medication, there's not really a story to say. That's almost like definition of the patient entering the pharmacy, speak to the pharmacist, get the medication, leave the meta pharmacy. That's not a story. That's a timeline series of events. But if you can incorporate some kind of activities to really enhance the quality of the experience. So for example, the patient came to the pharmacy, you went to speak to the patient, just spoke with them, found out how they were finding the pharmacy, what they think of the weather in the metaverse. So you're really creating a narration. And this kind of experience is really going to make your meta pharmacy stand out. It's moving from a transactional conversation to a more like listening to understand to the patient. And that's what's going to increase the popularity of your meta pharmacy, and also going to make the spatial experience of the pharmacy much better, right? You don't want to have just like an AI that's fixed of an avatar. The patient comes to it, ask a question, and the avatar just reply yes, no. That's not going to make it a realistic environment. You want to make it in such a way that it makes a compelling experience for patients to come back and they're like often, in a nutshell, right? So yeah, thank you again. Next slide, please. So for those that are not aware, there was a report that was released a few months back that's predicting the metaverse to be a $1 trillion economy. So what it means that for the pharmacy and pharmacy student and future pharmacy student, this is a huge opportunity to get involved, because think of right now being in the 90s at the beginning of the internet. So for instance, those at the beginning of the internet ages kind of created new set of rules on their own because they were able to test market fairly quickly. So I'm thinking of Google, Amazon, Facebook, and there is a strong, no, actually, I'm just making a declaration. I strongly believe that some of the participants within this hackathon will go on to become the new Amazon, the new Google of the meta pharmacy in the next 3 to 5 years. So that's my declaration to all of you right now. So as you can see, Facebook did the rebrand to Facebook to Meta, of course, to take inspiration to Metaverse. Then you have NVIDIA that's announced the Omniverse creation tool, which is basically creating virtual environment, which is currently only available to Windows for now. And of course, Microsoft acquiring the Activision company for nearly $70 billion. And then there's a few more acquisitions lately. For example, Unity acquiring a avatar development tool in order to make interaction within the metaverse more realistic. And next slide, please. Are you okay? All right. So when I just wanted to emphasize during your presentation that you have to be mindful of the word that you use, because it may seem to be the same word, but it's not. So you have digital avatar of yourself, which is like what you see right now. That was something I've done using the Ready Player Me tool. Then you have the digital twin. The digital twin is an accurate 3D representation of yourself, which can include your biometrics, your like blood pressure, your pulse, your breathing rate, your oxygen level. So this is not yet available at scale, because in order for you to get a digital twin of your body, it requires you to go to a studio and have several cameras around you to scan you from head to toe in order to get a really accurate representation of yourself. Via an avatar, you just take a picture of yourself and then you can just change and tweak the setting, right? And there's a concept of business to business, so B2C. Then you have business to customer, B2C. So B2B, B2C. And there's this new term that's came up lately called D2A, which is direct to avatar. So basically, new commerce model is going to evolve whereby instead of you, the farms, interacting with the patient in real life, you'll be interacting with the avatar. And also there is what I would call more development being done. But for now, I won't say too much because I don't want to provide you too much information. But if you haven't done so yet, I highly recommend everyone to create a Ready Player Me account just to get you started in this journey. Next slide, please, Yogi. All right, so this was a really good report by Rock Health, which kind of grouped different companies, health company already involved right now in the metaverse, are looking to get their footprint into the metaverse. And in a nutshell, you have, of course, Babylon, Siemens, and then you have immersive environment like Applet VR, Trip, XR Health. So basically, those are different companies who are getting into it. But as you can see, there is no company yet involved in the pharmacy metaverse. I mean, there's been a few articles, for example, a CVS pharmacy, then a pharmacy in Canada, then a pharmacy in Sweden that are getting involved into it, but it's still very, very early stage, right? It's not about being the first, it's about arriving to the finish line, right? And one of the key advantages for the participant for the next few days is that being student, you have agility, you're able to think outside the box, right? So in a nutshell, right now, there is a generation Z, but basically your future customer will be generation alpha. So basically for those that haven't heard that term, generation alpha is those that are born after 2010, right? And then those baby being born right now will be, I guess, called generation beta. And basically generation alpha and beta are the people that are more likely to learn from, right? Next slide, please, Yogi. So in order to assist you with your basically presentation, I had the opportunity to do 2 interviews with thought leaders in the field of metaverse. So one being with Arun from Your Open Metaverse, who's happened to be one of the judges for tomorrow. And it was about 30 minutes long, I believe. And there's a lot of gold nugget within the podcast. So if you haven't listened to the podcast yet, and you don't have a clear vision of how you want to see a meta pharmacy, that's a good primer. And also I had the opportunity to do an interview with Shea Richback, where she talks about the MIQ, the Metaverse Intelligence Quotient. And this is about, I believe, 20 minutes long. I think it's 18 minutes. And it'll be good in your presentation to include some kind of governance on how you can maintain the standard of pharmacists interacting with the patient. Like, for example, there is almost no quality standard right now of hacker prevention and metaverse, but we do have professional body across different countries to regulate the conduct and behavior displayed by pharmacists, right? And this could be some kind of training. So for instance, many pharmacists, when social media started, didn't get social media training. Therefore, they would behave in a manner that might not be consistent to the value of a pharmacist. It's only when the pharmacists were given social media training, then they were aware they have to make sure they do not discuss any patient confidential information, and also to make sure to not put offensive material in a same line of thinking, doing some kind of training to upskill their knowledge on how to behave in the metaverse is going to be very powerful content to include in your presentation, because that means you're thinking in a wider context, not just in one part. Yogi, next slide, please. So also there is a few articles out there just to give you a bit of more context on what you can include in your presentation. So there's an article which I published back in March, thanks to Pharmacy Business, on the meta pharmacy, which is basically based on the podcast I did from Aragon, right? So basically you can even say that the hackathon was kind of initiated thanks to the support of Aragon, which led me to do an article, which led me to do a webinar with IPASF, and then kind of inspired Yogi to organize this hackathon. So for this, Yogi, thank you. There's also an article by Dr. Jane Thomason, who's heavily involved in meta health, and actually written an article on that topic. And I highly recommend those people that's taking part in the hackathon to read the article to really give you some context and bigger peripheral vision on how you can make your presentation and the meta pharmacy a success. Then you also have an article published by FIP. So for those that haven't heard of FIP, it is the International Pharmaceutical Federation, and it is the largest pharmacy body globally. And the vice president, Lars Eike, has written a very insightful article on the topic of meta pharmacy. So if you're a FIP member, you may have seen the community pharmacy section newsletter. If you haven't, I think I may have put the PDF version, but I have to check if it's available. Yeah, next slide, please, Yogi. So basically, the reason why I'm so excited of the hackathon, because number one, it is the world first meta pharmacy hackathon organized by the IPASF, and some of the key learning I've learned, which I've shared with the leadership team at IPASF, is my own learning taking part in the Fractal F100 and Solana Repted hackathon. And those are some of the common best practices I've seen, which is, for example, you're not expected to create some kind of contract, smart contract or coding or line of code, because you only have a day basically. Unless you're a professional coder, it's going to be really hard. But if you do have someone in your team that does have some coding blockchain experience, then if they want you to do it in Solana, that's using the Rust language. If it is on the Polygon chain, that's a different kind of language. So basically, depending on which chain you're working on, requires different languages, like programming languages. Then, of course, you need the graphic environment, which can either be Unreal Engine, Unity, or even some kind of web-based graphic engine. Marketing campaign, if you wanted to, that's entirely up to your team. Having some kind of social media traction will be good. So what I mean by that is creating a Twitter channel, a Twitter account, Instagram account, LinkedIn account, Facebook account of your team name, and just kind of sharing your vision of the meta pharmacy, and then of course using some of the hashtag of the hackathon, and of course trying to say, okay, our pharmacy of the future will be looking like A, B, C. And if you have some traction in your social media, that'd be a plus point during your presentation, right? And then, of course, white paper, that's not really required for now, but for example, don't hesitate if needed to use Google document, Google slide, if needed. Character design, well, you can skip most of it by using Ready Player Me, but if you wanted to, you can make your own character, but it's going to be really hard to do it in less than a day from scratch. Music, since you only have a very limited amount of time for the presentation, I believe it might be 5 minutes. I just have to double check with IPASF and Yogi, but including music in your meta pharmacy is something you could potentially do. So for example, you can say, okay, Arun and Yogi, in my meta pharmacy, there'd be a nice, cool ambient music to set the scene. This is a music I made from scratch, or this is a royalty-free music. So basically, you're thinking of the whole aspect of visual auditory. So if you wanted to include some kind of music in your meta pharmacy, then sure, why not? Storyline is basically creating some kind of dialogue and interaction of the patient interacting with you. And the software is called Final Draft. Then the angle shot is where you can use a storyboarder, but there is something that I'm going to show you later on in about 5 minutes, which is going to allow you to skip that step. But if you wanted to explore storyboarder, feel free to do so. Just say the patient enter the pharmacy with this angle, and then when they speak to the pharmacy, it'll be this angle, and when they go to the medication shelf, it'll be this angle. And then as part of your team, we have, of course, the WhatsApp group and Discord group as well. But if needed, you can use a tool called monday.com to allocate different tasks within your team. So it could be one person doing the reading, one person watching listening to the podcast, one person could be designing the pharmacy in Unreal Engine or Unity. And the domain page, just want to emphasize, you are not expected to buy your own domain, but if you want to believe there is some free tool out there, so you can use, I think it's called medium.com, which is free to use. So you can even consider using it as Medium and then the name of your team. And next slide, please, Yogi. Okay, so Rumba was telling you about a tool that's going to save you so much time. And that tool is basically Midjourney. And if you haven't done so, I highly recommend everyone to join the Discord channel, where I have created a different channel for each team members. And basically, because it's the hackathon is for the next 2 days, the image that you see right now was not done on computer. It was not done by several artists across several weeks or months. It was done in 60 seconds by a computer using only a sentence. So for example, it could be forest with people and dinosaurs, and bam, this created this landscape that you see right now. I believe this could be a powerful tool for every single team members to use to kind of see how would your crazy idea of a pharmacy will look like, right? So to do that, I'm for now providing 10 sentences which you can use. And what you're required to do is basically go in your team channel, which is available in Discord channel, and write out a sentence, because I'm already part of the Midjourney Discord channel. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take your sentence, put it in the tool, generate an image, and put that image back into the Discord channel for you to choose from. And you can say, Arun, I want picture 1, 2, I don't want 3, 4. And what I do, I create a better quality image of the image you selected, which you can then use as an inspiration for either your meta pharmacy, creating a 3D environment from scratch, or it could be a matter of including that image specifically in your presentation, right? It was really good to give me and Yogi some context of what the vision of meta pharmacy is. So next slide, Yogi. Yeah, so as you can see, there is a dedicated channel for the participant. And right now, we reached team 8, up like team 1, team 2, up to 8. But literally 5 minutes before today presentation, I've rebranded it as the name of the team, and there's 10 team taking part. So basically, just write the name, the sentence of what you want me to try. So it could be like pharmacy, forest, 1950s with 5 cheese, and then it's going to generate a image based on what you've written. And because we are quite a few team members, if you just put like, for example, 1, and then once I've put the image in, you can put another sentence for you to get more images. Because if you were to do like 10 sentences, it's going to be really hard for me to keep up with all 10 teams. So if you just put 1 sentence, you can discuss with your team members what you say, and then I copy your sentence, put it in a program, and then get the image and put it back on your channel. And then once you've done that, you can ask for more images. But I'm going to limit that for 10 for now, right? 10 sentences. And also we are grateful to have a mentor based in UK who is very enthusiastic about soul-bound token. And I won't say much because I want you to do your own research, but having soul-bound token in your presentation is going to be a very, very important factor to include, because this is, I believe, going to play a big part in the health industry. And Heracles is one of the mentors for that specific topic. So as you can see above the Midjourney, there's a different channel for you to ask questions depending on the topic you want. So for example, it could be a matter of, oh, what blockchain shall I use? Shall I be using Solana? Shall I be using Polygon? Shall I use Virtuala? And in terms of avatar, can I use Ready Player Me, or can I use another avatar tool? Or it could be, okay, so what kind of DAO do I want? So decentralized autonomous organization. I won't say what it is because I want everyone to do your own research, but any kind of question that's there, you can write it directly there. But if it's not listed, there is a tab above that says inquiry. And what we do, we create an additional channel if it's not there yet. Next one, please, Yogi. So now the most important part of the presentation, the judging criteria for your meta pharmacy during a presentation. So for example, creativity. How clever, how creative is your project? What's the user journey going to be like for the avatar? Is it going to be like, it can even be like a timeline event. So for example, patient come to the meta pharmacy, line. Patient speak to the pharmacist, line, blah, 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 and NFT, and then deliver the medication. Or you can include some kind of story into it. And next one, Yogi. The interactivity. How well did you incorporate the NFT into your meta pharmacy? And what is the utility of your NFT? So basically, you could even say that utility is king for NFT for it to be successful, but that's not always the case. But for the purpose of this hackathon, I would like to think on how you can give a purpose for your NFT. So for example, it could be giving NFTs to your patient, whereby when they come to the pharmacy, they have access to low, like a discounted product for them to purchase. Or it could be a matter of getting some kind of almost explanation on the medication that they want to use. So really think hard about the utility you want to give your NFT. Don't be like, oh, paracetamol NFT. Because if you do that in a presentation, I'm 100% going to ask you, okay, what's the utility purposes of your paracetamol NFT, right? So next one, please, Yogi. How awesome is your team? Why is your team set up for success? So what I mean by that, the reason why we have the hackathon with a team of 3 to 5 members is to really brainstorm idea. How is going to make your project a success? I mean, if your team is just you, that's not the end of the world, but it's going to make it slightly more challenging. But the fact you can speak to other team members and say, hey, what do you think of this idea? I said, oh yeah, that's a good idea. I have some experience in graphic design. I have some coding background. Then really that mixture of different skills within your team is what's going to really make your team stand out and also gain you a lot of traction for the project. Yeah, next slide, please. And how far along is the development of the meta pharmacy? So that's what I mean by marketing strategy on social media. And also you can discuss on how you, I mean, if you think about it, because it's a 2-day hackathon, there's nothing stopping you to try to approach different companies on LinkedIn or even on social media and say, hey, I'm doing a hackathon for the IPASF or Meta Pharmacy. Do you have some kind of a tool? Are you interested in collaboration for the next 2 days for different company Web3? So that thing you're already taking the initiative to form partnership. And if you can manage to pull it off, then that's definitely a plus point. Yeah, next slide. And finally, the vision. What's the vision of your meta pharmacy? If the vision is just to kind of, I just want to do a meta pharmacy because it looks cool, that's not what we're trying to achieve with this hackathon. Like if the vision is more like, well, I had a personal story of mine. I went to a pharmacy and I didn't feel good. I had some problem with my leg. I couldn't travel. But with this, it will enable people with mobility issue to access to high quality care from pharmacists and being able to get medication advice in a virtual environment. So they reduce medicine wastages and also increase medicine adherence. So if you have this kind of vision at the beginning, is really help you going to get a lot of traction for a pharmacy, because if you think about it, the winner of the hackathon, the first 3 get cash prizes, but also the winning team get to do a partnership with Tech Mahindra for a go-to-market model, whereby your project from this 2-day ideation hackathon is going to enable you to form 3 to 4 global partners. So this is going to be a life-changing experience for the winning team. This, I can guarantee that. Next slide, please. Okay. And of course, because we have 4 judges, it'll be kind of good for you to include some kind of element in your presentation regarding making reference to the judges. That's not compulsory, but it'll be a good way for you to get plus point. So basically, if you can include, for example, virtual in the presentation, that'd be good. I highly recommend to read the announcement post to explain what virtual is, what the advantage is over other chain. Next slide, okay. Then, of course, your open metaverse, which is basically a level 1 metaverse, and highly recommend everyone to read the white paper. And it's going to give you a very concrete example on what the metaverse is and the opportunity there. And next slide. So remember making reference to Unity, Unreal Engine, a web-based 3D engine. 8X is one of them. And if you go to the website, and the link is available in this channel, and go to app, which is on the top right corner, you'll be able to access 3D environments straight away. So I recommend to maybe spend 10-15 minutes just to go on the website, go to the 3D environment, just to kind of see how it looks like. And the reason why I got everyone to, why IPASF decided to include in rule to create an avatar through Ready Player Me, this is compatible with Ready Player Me avatar, meaning that once you've created your avatar, you can connect your avatar right now to the 3D environment that we created to really give you an immediate cue on how it can look like in the future. Yeah, next slide. And of course, Eddie Avil, which is one of the thought leaders in XR Metaverse in India, I highly recommend to check out the X-Room podcast part of his website to listen in to some of the topic that might be of interest to you. And next one. And then also since I believe January 2022, because the idea of a meta pharmacy came to mind, I've created different folders with different resources of different topics. So for example, it could be one team member focusing on the NFT part. So you could go in the NFT folder, read some of the content. It could be another member of the team going in the Metaverse part, and another one on SBTs, which is soulbound token, DAO, to include reference, very facts and figures in your presentation if you wanted to. And I've created this Google Drive link for everyone in the hackathon to take reference from if needed. Yeah, next slide. And this is finally time for question. And yeah.
I think I haven't gave them access to unmute. Let me give them access. Just a moment. Okay, yeah. So guys, if you have any questions, you can unmute or you can post it on the chat so we can reply you. I'm audible, right? Yeah.
Yeah, we can hear you. We can hear you.
Yeah, fine. Okay, so I think we got very quiet crowd today. No one is asking us any questions. That is fine, guys. You can text us on the WhatsApp, on the group, or else on the Discord, so that we can help you out. So if there are no questions, we are looking forward to seeing you in the metaverse. So yeah, let me turn on my video. So yeah, that's it. So is there any other thing that we should say then?
So yeah, just wanted to emphasize, please make sure to join the Discord channel because it's going to make it easier to provide answers effectively and quickly for the team members, because I will be and IPASF will be monitoring the messages on the Discord channel until the end of the hackathon. So if at any point you're not sure of something, need some help, don't hesitate to post it on the Discord channel. And the Discord channel has all the resources available, because on WhatsApp is good for quick question, but just because of time commitment, it's best to put it in Discord channel so you don't have to repeat the question. You can just read the answers and question of other team members. And Yogi, at what time should we say that we start the judging of the top 5 team, like Indian time? What
I
should be the
was
best?
thinking, what if we gave them this day, because maybe tomorrow all of them, whoever can make it, they can present, because I think most of the topics what you told, even like couple of them are new to me, so I don't think even they have heard of them. So either way, they are also not technical. So I'm just thinking maybe we can give them this day, and whoever have their presentations ready, like they can present tomorrow. I'm just thinking, I'm not sure, because it's again hard for you to attend tomorrow, right? So I just thought maybe we can send whoever does that presentation to tomorrow, or maybe sometime at this evening. Which time would be fine with you, Arun? Is it something like
So if I understood correctly, you want to do it at 9 a.m. EST time to select the top 5?
yeah.
Okay, yeah, that works fine with me, because I'll be delivering. So for those that know, I'm doing a training session on vaccination tomorrow. So I need to leave the house on 7 a.m. So yeah, I should be able to do
maybe we
it.
can just further discuss and maybe update them. It's fine. Yeah.
Okay.
So
But yeah, tomorrow 9 a.m. EST time to pick the top 5, me and you. That should be fine. And then just to emphasize, then the judging will be in the afternoon to the top 5, but we reiterate information, but basically the top 5 that get selected, me and Yogi will provide you feedback to further polish your presentation and set you up for success. And then you have the main judges, which will be 4 of them, and Yogi will be like acting as the hosts for them. And then from there on, yeah. But either way, every single team is making history right now. So yeah.
Okay, so thank you, Arun. I hope we'll be updating you guys. So thank you for attending this. You can also find this on our YouTube channel, just in case a few things and few links, whatever you require, we'll just add in the description there. So yeah, bye bye. We'll see you in Metaverse. Yeah, sorry. You're saying.
You forget to give a shout out to our sponsors, right? So first of all, I just want to give a shout out to IPASF and Yogi for being the brainchild of this hackathon, bringing people together for this vision of making the world a better place by leveraging technology. And I just want to give a massive shout out to Xander Sims, who is part of Digital Storytelling Inc., for providing a support and sponsorship for the cash prize of this Xander. Heartfelt thank you. And of course, the World Tech Mahindra team, so Rajesh, Aman, Utkarsh, for providing their support to IPSF to kind of kindly agree to help the winning team change their life, basically. For this, thank you for the two sponsors and also the 4 judges, but we reiterate our thanks to them tomorrow. So thank you, Yogi, for this.
Yeah, also thank you, Arun, for connecting us with all of this Metaverse people and all, because we never really know that sort of network and all. So really thankful for that. And yeah, so see you in some time. Bye bye,
Thank you.
guys.
Bye-bye.